Hi there, Dr. Vicki Lemper here with the Shift Happens channel. Today, we're going to talk about perception. Perception is reality. We've heard that a million times, right? But what does that mean? And how does that work with law of assumption and manifesting all your desires? Well, we're going to get into that and more. But before we do, go ahead and like, share, and comment. That's how we build our community. If you enjoy learning how to manifest in a healthy, stable way that is enjoyable and it's foundational, where it's sustainable, right? Then go ahead and like and share and comment. If you need help, go ahead and contact me at shifthappenslifecoaching@gmail.com. Let's get into it. All right. So, perception is reality. You hear that all the time, right? And, you know, before law of assumption, I was like, okay, perception is reality, but what is reality? All right. So then we start diving into that and we go into law of assumption. And the way we perceive things is really how do we feel about ourselves? And ultimately, when we ask ourselves, how do we feel about ourselves? It's really about our self concept. Who are we choosing to be in this moment? Right? It's no different than if you have four siblings and there is an event that happens in the past in your childhood. There's going to be four different viewpoints because there are four different people viewing it and perceiving it in their own way. And when you perceive something, there's an event, and then how you feel about yourself, how you are feeling and perceiving yourself, you're going to ingest that event differently, right? So if you're in a state of lack, then all of a sudden you're seeing everything with lack. Oh, I don't have enough friends. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough value at work. I don't have enough. You see what I'm saying? And so, an event, you're going to perceive it as the world's against me. Something is against you. You're not enough. There's something going wrong for you, right? But now, if you have a self concept where you're feeling pretty good about yourself, you're identifying with, I am an abundant person. Yeah, life throws me some things, but I'm okay. I know that this is just part of the process, right? Then you're going to perceive that event differently. Let's give an example. I have a client that was always attracting a partner. She would always have these guys that would have an interest in her, but then always have like a side friend that took up a lot of their time. And it could be, a guy or a girl. It didn't matter, right? But she always found herself finding these guys that would be totally into her, and then all of a sudden find an interest in somebody else. Not that it was a love connection; it could have been a family member, or a friend, or a colleague, but they would start giving so much attention to that other person and not unto them. So they felt like, oh boy, I'm not worthy of being a priority. I'm not chosen. I'm not good enough, right? Well, I was working with her and she didn't have a romantic partner at the time, right? She was not in a relationship. But she explained, gosh, every time I start dating a guy, there's always either a best friend or a sister or a brother or, a colleague that tends to take priority. So I said, okay, well, how are you identifying? First of all, you're claiming this right now, right? The second thing is that all of a sudden she started, as we were working through her self concept and seeing herself as worthy in all areas of her life, not just with a specific person in a romantic way, but specific people at work, family members, with her wealth and her health. All of these things were taking priority. Everything I teach you will always go back to self, because also Neville Goddard always says there is nothing to change but self. So everything begins and ends with you, right? So we were working through her self concept and how she was perceiving her reality, because when you are perceiving in a state of lack, you are going to see things in a state of lack. So let's further this conversation. She was going along, she met someone, everything was going great. So he was everything that she wanted, right? But guess what happened? You guessed it, because she still hadn't shed that old self. It started creeping up again. he had a sister that was taking priority. Now, again, obviously, it wasn't a threat, for any romantic thing, because that's, not what she was after. But it was after, this her partner, he was giving his sister more attention, and she didn't feel like the sister liked her, and so there was all these stories being created. So all of these things, that events that happened, she would go, see, she doesn't like me. She's going to try and sabotage my relationship with him. This always happens. This happened before. Look at what happened. And she was comparing her past experiences to this current experience, even though she was trying to change that self-concept. So she was trying to convince herself by, affirming, I am chosen, I am a priority, I am healthy, I am wise, I am, all these I ams. And it still wasn't working. So then what we did was, I said, okay, you are focused on him, you're focused on his sister and that story. What about you? Okay. So I said, just choose one of those affirmations. I am a priority. That's what she chose. And so she's like, I'm going to see that in every area of my life. I am going to make myself a priority. So then I would have her affirm, but also, like, everything she did, every decision she made was based on herself, not to please him, not to please the sister, not to even carry that story along. And she started building this life that was fulfilling. And then all of a sudden, she felt herself gaining this confidence. And it became natural to her to always be valued and seen and heard and a priority and chosen and belonging, right? Because she was seeing it in all areas of her life. So then something happened, right? There was a big gathering. It was going to be friends and family with her significant other, her partner, her boyfriend, and the sister was planning this huge party. Well, guess who didn't get invited? Oh yeah, my client. So there again, all of a sudden, here comes the old stories, and she's like, God, I thought I was doing so well. I thought I was affirming, I was choosing differently. But then all of a sudden, she's like, see, it's happening again. See, she's doing this. She has my number. I should be on this text message, this group chat, but I'm not. She intentionally left me off. And I said, whoa, perception is reality. And so there's infinite possibilities, right? That's one of my empowering beliefs in my book. There's infinite possibilities. There's infinite realities. There's infinite pathways. So you are choosing the one that you are saying is against me, is against me, is against me. Is the world against you? You realize that she is you pushed out. We're all connected. So there is, again, you're not choosing you. You need to go back to yourself and choose you and really connect with the God self. We tend to do this all here. Yes, it's imagination, but it's also a heart connection and leaning into the God piece of yourself, right? So we started really leaning into it and detaching from that story. How you detach is when you start observing and noticing these events. Okay, I didn't get invited. That is just that. It is you're detaching the stories. So there's like the primary is like, okay, that's the story. So there's a text message. That's the primary. The secondary is all of a sudden we're putting a story onto it. And then there's another level of, oh my gosh, so I really am not chosen. I am not worthy of anything. But really, it's just a text message. There's a group message. There could be infinite possibilities as to why she didn't include you. And so what I said was, get off the subject. Don't even think about that story. Don't go there, and just really focus on you, going back to choosing you, choosing your God self, knowing that you are connected with God and all is taken care of. It is done, and go into that feeling of relief. And so when she started leaning into God and just starting focusing on other areas of her life of always being seen as chosen and valued and heard and belonging, Guess what happened? No, a couple weeks later, all of a sudden, she gets this message from uh, her boyfriend through his sister, and says, "Hey, I need," he showed the text message. "I need," I'm not going to say my client's name, uh, phone and her name and phone number, not her name. She knows her name, the phone number, because I seem to have lost it. I thought she was on this group text. I need to have it because of this party, blah, 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 blah. And sure enough, that was it. And I said, and just accept it. Accept that 3D reality just as it is, and don't add any more stories. Perception is reality. How you perceive things is how you're feeling about yourself, how you're choosing to be you, and just accepting and then noticing just the event and letting it slide right through you. That's perceiving your world in an abundant, loving way versus perceiving your world in a lack filled way. It's all about how you feel about yourself, who you're choosing to be, but ultimately how you're letting go and just seeing every event is one in infinite possibilities. And you just let it go through and you lean into God. So when you let go, you're leaning into God and you're like, I know I'm taken care of because I'm chosen by God and I am good. All is well. And it does always work out. But you have to self-regulate yourself and just be aware and choose. And it's really, when you're in a state of lack, you're going to manifest states of lack, right? And so when you start feeling good about yourself and really identifying with that God self, everything comes to you naturally, right? Because you're just noticing and observing events without a story. You're detaching emotionally from that story. I'm going to do more videos on how to detach. But perception is reality, right? It's all in how you feel about yourself. You have control of all of that, right? It's just a matter of choosing. All right. I know this set well with you. Go ahead and like, share, and comment. If you need help, go ahead and contact me at shifthappenslifecoaching@gmail.com. All right. Till next time.